We say we do not want to have another revolution in this country. Not because we thought and we will. If we are sensible enough, I mean, we should think about country and not about ourselves when we enter politics. So that we don't have any more revolutions, any more coups, any more. Like I said, on the first
Good afternoon.
Let me start by thanking my fellow speakers who were kind enough to share their experiences with us. Honorable Ibusu Mahama, Chairman of the Council of Elders. Honorable Esemi Katia, Chairman of the Labour Party. Honorable Vicky Bray, General Secretary of the NDC. Distinguished members of the National Executives, Honorable Ministers of State and Members of Parliament, eminent ladies and gentlemen, fellow cadres, and my fellow members of the Evergreen Akatamanso family. On behalf of the family of the late President JJ Rawlings, I wish to extend our heartfelt appreciation to all members of the National Democratic Congress and to our friends and well-wishers for honoring him with this ceremony to commemorate his birthday. His unflinching pursuit of what he called real and meaningful participation of the people of Ghana everywhere in the decision-making processes of the land gave us decentralization of political authority to the grassroots levels. Culminating first in the establishment of metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies in 1988, and finally the 1992 Constitution, which many of you present here today helped establish. I think that deserves a round of applause. We salute you all for contributing to that. As we mark this special day, we are reminded of his vision for a better Ghana, his courage in the face of adversity, his passion for justice, and his unwavering dedication to the welfare of the Ghanaian people, all of which are enshrined in the directive principles of the state policy under the 1992 Constitution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, his leadership and legacy have left an indelible mark on our national history. This would explain why any time Ghanaians feel threatened by a leadership which falls short of the standards he established, they turn to the National Democratic Congress for redress. And it also explains why any time our performance falls short of what they have come to expect from us, they turn unwillingly to our opponents to teach us a lesson. We are grateful for the enduring impact of his work and the continued relevance of his ideals. We thank the NDC for keeping his vision alive and for remaining a beacon of hope and the protective umbrella for the Ghanaian people to run under for shade whenever the need arises. To all who knew and loved him, and to those who have been touched by his legacy, we say Aiko, may his memory continue to inspire us to build a better Ghana for all, and may our party continue to grow from strength to strength as we deliver good governance to our people. Long live the leadership of our dear party, long live Ghana, and thank you.
Thank you. Because exactly 78 years ago,
was born a child of destiny. All of us are special, should I call it, children, because all of us are born with different destinies. Some are born to affect their family levels, others are born to affect their communities, some are born to affect their districts, some are born to affect their regions, and some are born to touch their countries and touch beyond their country and touch their life. JJ Rawlings was clearly born. For those of us who know a little bit about numbers, everyone has a soul number. And anybody who does a little check on numbers will know. JJ Rawlings' soul number is the number 22. The numbers are many. And those with very special missions need to have what you call master numbers. The master numbers start with 11. And 22 tends to be very, very mighty. Those born with number 22 are born to affect the world. He was born exactly on 22nd June 1947, and his soul number is also 22. So that tells you that right from birth, a special child is born. 22 years after the independence of Ghana, exactly fell in the year 1970. 22 years after Ghana's independence, fell exactly 1970. And all of you know exactly what happened in 1979 and how that has affected this country to date, and how that is the beginning of this great party in this movement that we have today. And 22 years after 1979 fell in the year 2001. And that's when this great man hesitated after serving this country, both as chairman of the PNC, first as the leader of the revolution, 1979 uprising, then came as the PNC chairman, then transitioned into becoming the president of our country, served this country, laid foundations, which foundations are here for keeps. He was a man who clearly was not perfect, like every single one of us. I mean, there's nobody who has been close to him who have failed to understand that that man's heart was half that love people, love this country, love humanity. I would say, if you ask me to define Rawlings, what I would say is simple. He was a man, and he used that word often, even though it got lost on me. Those of us who had the privilege and the honor to work closely with him. It's a word he used often. He called it the sovereignty of the human spirit. The sovereignty of the human spirit. Maybe as I've grown over the years, I tend to think that what he really wanted to convey was the sovereignty of the divine spirit that was oozing through humanity. I think that's what he really wanted to cover. And often you've heard him talk about positive defiance, exactly that was what he wanted to say. That we are born to be sovereign beings. And we need to always work to ensure that we remain sovereign. Sovereign doesn't mean that we do anything that pleases us, but we remain true to who we are. And we live and die for our convictions. And that's why when the event of May 15 happened, and he found himself literally on the edge of death, that's clarion call, leave my men alone. I take full responsibility. That is the clarion call of a man who understood the sovereignty of man. It's been a blessing to this country to have had JJ Rawlings. And Kwame Nkrumah opened the floodgate for independence. And through Kwame Nkrumah, we came out with a motto of freedom and justice for our country. And when Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown, and this country went into that period of decline, what we call the dark ages of the country, to the point where we reached our lowest ever. many people who knew what was happening would have known that as early as 1972, people started having dreams, people started having visions of the coming of a young man. In fact, Rawlings himself said that from 1977, those dreams became pervasive. I met a relatively older man, I'm sure he's passed on now, who told me that from 77, he used to be part of an intercession group, a prayer group, and virtually every week the prophecy and the dream kept coming that a young man was going to emerge as a leader of the country, and that young man was going to set the foundation that would never be broken. And so that again to emphasize that his coming was no accident. And what he says he has come to accomplish, we can only be grateful to God. I mean, for the opportunity of having him as a founding father of this great party. Now, so it means, especially this party, must start to appreciate who we are and where we are coming from. It's been a battle between keeping to our true values and watching what our friends on the other side are doing, and almost struggling as to whether we remain our pristine pure self or we become contaminated and lower our values. I say that Rawlings, right from the word God, stood for the resetting of this nation. If there's anyone who is for reset, that's him. Why? Because he constantly understood that the soul of this country was the number one thing that we must fight for and preserve. We went into the election 2024 with the clarion call of resetting down. I want to say that if there is a time for us to understand that the real reset must start with us individuals, especially those of us in the NDC, this is the moment and this is the day that we should understand. I don't think today is the day for long speeches, but what I just want to say is this, that let us today aspire and seek to understand who he was, to understand that he was simply a portal that allowed for something great to come to an end for the benefit of this country, the people of this country, and the world at large. And let us all seek to embody the same